Hello, my name is Scott Davis. Welcome to New World Birth. This is the weekly neutrino forecast for June 26th to July 2nd of 2016. And on June 26th, we have the sun. You can see it denoted here by this black circle with a dot in it. It's in Cancer. It's also in the 52nd hexagram. And on the outside of the wheel, we have the chop mark for the 52nd, numbered from bottom to top. It goes yin, yin, yang, yin, yin, yang. And then the 52nd hexagram is mapped to an opening in an energy channel called a gate. And right here, this is the 52nd gate of inaction, keeping still, mountain, temporary and self-imposed inaction for the benefit of assessment, located in the root center in a collective logic energy path in the understanding circuit called the Channel of Concentration, a design of determination that connects to its harmonic. The 9th gate of focus, the taming power of the small. The potential can be fulfilled through detailed attention to all pertinent aspects. And I found human design to be amazingly accurate in describing the person. I use it as my primary tool when I provide readings. And we have the following activated gates on June 26th. The sun is in the 52nd gate, with the earth in the 58th gate. The north node is in the 64th gate, with the south node in the 63rd gate. Mercury is in the 45th gate. We have Venus in the 39th gate. Mars is at a standstill or stationed as it turns direct on June 29th, and it is in the 43rd gate. Jupiter is in the 64th gate along with the north node. Saturn is retrograde in the 5th gate. Uranus is in the 42nd gate. Neptune is in the 63rd gate, and it's retrograde as well. And then we have Pluto retrograde in the 54th gate. So obviously not every gate activation forms a channel, but this information can be very helpful if you know your own human design chart, because some of these transits will form channels with potentials in your personal body graph. As we begin the week, we have no channel definitions due to the transit field. June 26 begins with the sun in the second line of the 52nd hexagram. The sun in the 52-2 is described as concern, exalted the pause that is initiated to benefit others, the pressure to restrain energy for the benefit of others, detrimented, a selfish and abrupt pause that may endanger others unnecessarily, the pressure to selfishly restrain energy at the expense of others. And then later on the 26th, the sun then moves into the third line of the 52nd hexagram, and that shift happens at 7:16 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is 23:16 UT. The sun in the 52-3 is controls, external enforcement of inaction, exalted, the ability by its very nature to understand restraint with the potential in acceptance to use the period to redefine strategies, the energy for acceptance in inaction. Detrimented, a deep dissatisfaction with the controls that disturb tranquility and leads to emotional withdrawal that affects vision. The pressure of restraint disturbs tranquility. Also on the 26th, Mercury moves from the 45th gate in hexagram to the 12th gate in hexagram. And in human design, Mercury is about communication, and Ra talked about that it's the expansion of human consciousness through communication, not just as words, but also as music. And Mercury is in the gate of caution, standstill, the quality of restraint and the importance of meditation and inaction in confronting temptation. Mercury is in the first line of the 12th hexagram, which is the monk withdrawal that can only be maintained with communal support, exalted the beauty and harmony possible beyond the reach of temptation, the expression of social withdrawal and its value when supported by others. Detrimented, Simon the Stylite, total and often absurd withdrawal, the absurd expression of social caution and the extreme withdrawal from emotional conflict. And in the program, Mercury is about expression through communication. It influences the homogenized population to communicate about the themes of the gate and the line that transiting Mercury inhabits. The primary impact is psychological, and it impacts the not self-mind. It distorts the way we look at things in a way that leads to action. This conditions people to think and communicate about the same things. And in the 12th gate, they're communicating about trying. On the 27th, the Sun moves into the 4th line of the 52nd hexagram, and this shift happens at 6:52 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That's 22:52 UT. The Sun in the 4th line of the 52nd hexagram is self-discipline, exalted, perfected self-discipline and restraint that deals easily and wisely with impulsive temptations. The energy for restraint that recognizes the value of stillness and focus. Detrimented, though responsive to the needs of a principled control based on understanding of conditions, there is a tendency due to its natural expansiveness to doubt and restlessness. Restless energy and doubt in the face of restraint. And the Sun becomes exalted in the 52:4 later in the day due to Saturn moving into the 9th gate. So also on the 27th, retrograde Saturn moves from the 5th gate in the hexagram to the 9. In the sacral center, which then defines the root center, and the sacral center. So we have Saturn. Ra referred to Saturn as yin and yang clothing. Saturn is the judge, and it's in the 9th hexagram, and this is the gate of focus, the taming power of the small. The potential can be fulfilled through detailed attention to all pertinent aspects. And retrograde Saturn backs into the 6th line of the 9th hexagram, which is gratitude, the joy which comes from accepting small rewards for small victories. Exalted, where the power of the small nourishes the right perspective, the power to enjoy the concentrating process. Detrimented, no single step of value until the journey is over. The energy for expansion that cannot find joy in the process until it is complete. And in the program, Saturn brings control through constraint. It holds us in place through restraint and limitation to maintain our not-self relationships with each other. We experiencing transit planets through the Maya, and we're not here to avoid the Maya, but to embrace the Maya as ourselves through following our strategy and authority. And with the Sun in the 52nd hexagram and Saturn in the 9th hexagram and gate, we have the channel of concentration, a design of determination until June 30th, which brings energy to be of service by improving something that will make a difference in the world. Folks with this channel bring focus and determination to anything they do individually or in a group through concentrating their being on their purpose. This may be a time when people have less tolerance for multitasking and prefer to focus on one activity at a time as a response to pressure, waiting to find a quiet and still space where they can concentrate their energy on the details of their process. For those without the defined root center, this transit can bring pressure in which may have folks hurrying to get things done and release their stress. And the sacral definition can influence non-generator beings to feeling very busy, having the endurance to work. They may also think that they know when enough is enough, which could lead to the premature or abrupt ending to something that needs more time. On the 28th, the sun then moves into the 5th line of the 52nd hexagram at 6:28 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is 1828 UT. The sun in the 52.5 is described as explanation. In times of inaction, the often important ability to explain one's position. Exalted, the often terse but exceedingly accurate statement, where inaction and focus can lead to detail. Detriment, a convolution where dynamic energy is normally misunderstood with unpredictable circumstances, where too much inaction can lead to loss of focus and not to detail. And then also on the 28th, Mercury moves from the 12 to the 15. As we said before, Mercury is about communication, and it's in the gate of the 15th gate is the gate of extremes, modesty, the quality of behavior which expresses the proper balance between extremes. And Mercury is in the first line of the 15th hexagram, which is duty, the ability to confront any challenge without expectations. Exalted, harmonic relationships which give support for the fulfillment of any task. The capacity of the self to confront any challenges through extreme and harmonic relationships. Detriment, alienation engendered through exaggerated claims. The capacity of the self to alienate others through extremes. On the 29th, the sun then moves into the 6th line of the 52nd hexagram at 6:03 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is 22:03 UT. The sun in the 52.6 is peacefulness, exalted, a harmonic, balanced attunement that is at ease regardless of the situation, the lack of pressure in times of stillness. Detriment and delusion as a substitute for genuine tranquility. Given the positive nature of this position, the delusion may be just effective as the real thing, where pacification of energy is extreme, pressure real, and imagine does not disturb the stillness. Also on the 29th, Venus moves from the 39 to the 53. So in human design, Venus is about values, morality, natural law, in which we deal with the other and the consequences of the world around us, according to Ra. And Venus is in the 53rd gate of beginnings, development as a structured progression that is both steadfast and enduring. Venus is detrimented in the first line of the 53, which is described as accumulation. Detrimented, the development hampered by criticism and the tendency to withdraw rather than make use of these experiences. The difficulty in starting something new because of criticism that accompanied the old. In the program, Venus is about control through maintaining the status quo in the way we operate with each other. And as I said before, we may experience the transiting planets through the Maya, the best way to deal with the effect of transiting planets is by following your strategy and authority. And with Venus in the 53rd gate and Uranus in the 42nd gate, this brings us to the Channel of Maturation, a design of balanced development until July 4th, which brings the energy to be cautious about starting something new, although I'm not sure how this affects folks as a transit. For people who have this in their birth chart, making a commitment must be followed through its conclusion. So I'd be careful about making a commitment other than using your strategy and authority, because this makes it very difficult to get out of it later. The energetic of this is that we get the same experience over and over again if we try to avoid it before completion, which can take up to 7 years. This is a time could be like the movie Groundhog Day, where we experience the repeating cycles that slowly bring us to a state of maturity and wisdom, the wisdom that all life is a journey that never ends. We may all feel more deeply attuned to the cycles of life for a few days, as we are more apt to notice planetary cycles, body cycles, historical cycles. But again, with those without the defined root center, this can bring pressure that may have people hurrying to get things done to release their stress. And again, the defined sacral can affect non-generator types with having endurance to do a lot of work, and perhaps even bring them to believe that they know when enough is enough, which can, as I said before, lead to a premature or abrupt ending to something that really needs more time. On the 30th, the sun then moves out of the 52nd gate in hexagram, and it moves to the 39, and the Earth moves from the 58 to the 38. So we have the Earth is in the gate of the fighter, opposition, the ability to persevere, the ability to preserve individual integrity through opposition to detrimental forces. And this shift happens at 5:39 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is 21:39 UT. And we have the sun in the 39th gate of the Provocateur. This is obstruction, the value of obstruction in provoking analysis, assessment, and reevaluation. And the sun is in the first line of the 39th hexagram, which is described as disengagement, exalted, the determination when confronted by obstacles to withdraw, but only temporarily, the energy to provoke by refusing to confront obstacles, detriment and disengagement with the accompanying indecision as to when to re-engage, the refusal to confront obstacles without the capacity to know when to engage. The indecision is also provocation. And as we move from the 52nd to the 39, we enter the gate of obstruction to provoke evaluation and assessment. It's a root gate, so we have pressure, and in this case, pressure is to find love. As an individual gate, it's here to empower. It's acoustic, it's mutative, it's melancholic. It fuels the stream of passion in the channel of emoting, connecting to the 55th gate of spirit. And with the 38 and the 61, the 39 is a gate of mystery. The 38 brings pressure to find purpose. The 61 brings pressure to know. The 39 is about the form's pressure to find empowering individual love. And we're conditioned to find love, even if it's homogenized. But the 39 yearns for true love that expands the individual spirit within the form. The sun's entry into the 39th hexagram brings us to the quarter of civilization's cross of tension. The 39 is looking for the 55. So this is emotional tension, moodiness related to romance and art. It can be provoking by teasing or ignoring or by approaching or avoiding. It's basically provoking to find the right spirit. And we are here to provoke through people. We're here to be provoked through people pushing our buttons with the sun in the 39. And then also on the 30th, Jupiter moves from the 64 to the 47. Leaving the north node behind in the 64. Which then defines the the head and the oxma here. So we've Jupiter in human design is generalized law, and Jupiter is in the 47th gate of realizing oppression, a restrictive and adverse state as a result of internal weakness or external strength, or both. And Jupiter's in the first line of the 47, which is taking stock, exalted the ability in times of hardship to concentrating on eradicating the negative factors that have led to oppression, realizing that negative thoughts have to be eradicated, detriment, the delusion of seeing oppression as an exclusively external phenomena with disastrous results, the sense that the world is against us. And in the program, Jupiter is about expression through bringing out the general rules of the program. We're all being conditioned to follow the same rules, to abide by those rules, to drive us to action. It's following your strategy and authority. So follow your strategy and authority, and not the rules of the program. And with the North Node in the 64 and Jupiter in the 47, this brings us the channel of abstraction, design, a mental activity mixed with clarity until August 3rd. The energy of this channel is about creating something new out of something old. This is about abstract thought being brought into the collective consciousness through the arts, philosophy, history, and culture. This is a wonderful energy for telling stories about our experiences that inspire others, but brings confusion when used to resolve our own issues. The defined head center can influence folks to feel the pressure to think about things that don't matter. And the defined asana center can influence people to believe that they're certain of something even when they are not. And then July 1st, the sun then moves into the second line of the 39th hexagram at 5:14 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 21:14 UT. The sun in the 39-2 is described as confrontation, exalted, the instinctual and direct assault of obstacles, the energy to revoke through direct assault, detrimented the principle of preservation that tempts one to go around an obstacle that should be tackled head on. An emotional discomfort with an emotional discomfort when direct assault is essential. And then also on the 1st, Mercury moves from the 15th hexagram in gate, and it moves into the 52nd hexagram in gate. So this is again, Mercury communication. It's in the gate of inaction, keeping still, a mountain, temporary and self-imposed inaction for the benefit of assessment. Mercury is in the first line of the 52, which is think before you speak, exalted, the pause that is so profound that it leads to silence, the pacification of energy that leads to stillness, detrimented, speaking first and living with the consequences afterwards, energy that cannot be stilled. And with Mercury in the 52nd gate, we've got Saturn in the 9th gate, we return to having the channel of concentration, a design, a determination until July 4th, which again is about people having the energy to be of service by improving something to make a difference in the world. Like I said before, the folks with this channel bring focus and determination to anything they do individually or in a group through concentrating on their own on their being in the process. This is really a gate that wants to focus on one thing at a time, so it really might be more difficult to multitask with this transiting influence. Again, want people more wanting to find quiet and still space where they can concentrate their energy on the details of the process. And we continue to have the defined root center and the defined sacral center, influencing folks to feel pressure from the root center and to believe that they know when enough is enough from the sacral center for those who do not have those centers defined in their rave chart. On the 2nd, the sun then moves into the 3rd line of the 39th hexagram at 4:50 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is 2050 UT. The sun in the 39.3 is responsibility, the avoidance of confronting obstacles. If failure puts others at risk, exalted the great benefit whose first consideration is for the larger framework. The energy to provoke through self-sacrifice, detrimented the often disastrous assumption that others are more at risk if an obstacle is not confronted. The energy to provoke through the failure to make sacrifices. So I want to thank you for checking out New World Birth. The next segment of the weekly neutrino forecast will be for July 3rd, 2016, should be available on the 2nd, when we continue to look at the influence of the heavenly bodies as they transit the sky and the hexagrams of the I Ching. You can check us out on Facebook, Blogger, or YouTube as this New World Birth presences in all those places. And I encourage you to share this information as videos or as text as widely as you choose. And I invite you to contact me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com if you have any questions or wish to schedule a reading. And if you've been thinking about getting a reading, please contact me. I would love to provide you a reading during these uncertain times. You'll need to be able to either call me in Maine in the USA, or we can connect with Skype to receive your reading. We're also accepting donations to keep these reports freely available. And as I said in the past, things have been pretty lean, so we're really getting close to the point of having to determine whether we can continue to offer these reports. And so if you are able to support us either through making a donation by contacting me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com, or getting a reading, which is also would be a great benefit to you, as well as if you're interested in seeing these reports continue, please help us out. As always, I am blessed that you've taken the time to connect with my passion for these ancient mysteries, their synthesis and application to our journey during this incarnation. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste, in Lakesh, and as Ra would say, love yourself. All my best to everybody, and look forward to connecting with you at some point in the future.